Welcome to the Westworld Roundup, a podcast for HBO's Westworld. I'm Matt.
And I'm Mallory.
And today we're going to be discussing the Season 1 finale titled The Bicameral Mind. Do you remember what bicameral mind means, Mel?
Yeah, it has to do with the voices in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so it was the a callback to an earlier episode where they discussed that. It was the voices that all the hosts are hearing. We weren't sure who it was. We assumed it was Arnold. At the end of this episode, Mallory, did we find out that it was actually Ford who's been speaking to them?
No, I think we end up finding out that it's themselves that have been speaking to them.
But they only realized that later on.
Yeah, but...
So what voice have they been... I guess it's weird because we transitioned from Arnold's voice to Ford's voice and then to Dolores' voice.
Yeah.
So was Ford instigating this? Was he the one who was trying to...
I think he opened the door.
Yeah.
For her to realize that it was her own voice she was hearing.
Okay.
But I don't think she was ready to accept it. To accept the fact that it was her.
All right. Would you there's so much that went on in this episode. Extra long episode. So this is going to be an extra long podcast episode, Mallory. I hope you're excited. You're not excited at all.
Super excited.
What do you think about the multiple parks? Multiple themes. That opens up new seasons.
Is that where we saw like the Asian Genghis Khan kind of thing going on in one of the pods at Westworld headquarters?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Samurai World, right?
Well, I think that's something we always assumed was going on, like Roman world.
Yeah. But now if you never watched the movie, could this have been a surprise for people?
Definitely.
I mean, I was kind of waiting on something like this to happen, but and it was a different logo and everything. It had like this weird S to it.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, the first time I saw it, I didn't know. I thought it was some...
what does this mean for the future of the show? Are they going to... The Westworld hosts going to infiltrate the other worlds? And
no, I hope next season.
Yeah.
Just nothing to do with Westworld. Next season is just Samurai World.
Yeah.
And they go to different worlds every episode, every season.
Like how... And Westworld is huge.
Yeah.
So it must be on another planet.
I don't know. Like Westworld seems like it's surrounding this place, but now if there's a whole other samurai world, where's that place? I don't know. But they're hinting to... Well, not hinting. They showed us, but we're not going to find out for a little while. What did you... I was pretty sure Hopkins wasn't going to make it out of this season.
Yeah, there's no way he'd commit to 2 seasons of this.
Yeah, well, would the showrunners even commit to it? Would Jonathan
with him
Nolan
being on his deathbed and all?
Yeah, it's sad. It's mean to say it, but I think he's 88.
My grandmother is 94.
Okay, well, still, you can't bet on imagine you have this show around him.
Yeah.
To a point, and if he just dies off, I think this was. If it's only coming back in 2018, I don't think you can leave it to a chance,
Yeah.
Man in Black is kind of old too. William is kind of old. Ed Harris. But that's an easy, you don't need to... We didn't kill him off in this. But let's say he does die in the next 2 years. You could easily just say he died. So it was confirmed that he was a good guy all along. Ford.
Yeah.
He was working to set the host free to honor Arnold. Or because he realized that Arnold was right this whole time. Is that what we've come to realize of Ford in this?
Yeah, I think so. He was the good guy. He realized his mistakes that he made 35 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's trying to set them right now.
Yeah. It's only taken him 35 years. Yeah. Who was it that...
Oppenheimer?
Yes.
Yeah.
10 years of mistakes... I forget the quote. Something about the longer it takes you to fix your mistakes, the more of a man you are.
Yeah.
So what a man he must be.
Big man, big mistakes.
I suppose. I was a little disappointed that I'm just getting all the big themes in my mind out here in the open. But I was a little disappointed that Bernard came back. And in the very next episode, and so easily too.
Yeah.
In the goodbye that they had from last episode seemed...
I kind of expected him to come back. I don't know, because he's a host and he didn't they're always able to be brought back to life in one way or another.
Yeah, but this one seems so final. I thought maybe Ford would have done something with this, but he just let it sit there and he didn't seem surprised at all when Bernard came back.
Well, I think he probably programmed Maeve to escape from Westworld and to recruit and this and that, as we saw.
Okay.
So he probably knew that she was going to have Felix revive Bernard.
Okay, so you're on that train of thought where, well, yeah, it was shown that she was not doing this of her own volition. This was something that was programmed into her, so we're assuming Ford did this.
Well, who else would it be?
Nobody, I guess. If we find out that Arnold this whole time...
what's his motive for doing something like that, though? You know?
He has a bigger end game in mind, but is this all this to say that Arnold didn't exist in anything we've seen other than him actually existing? He didn't exist after his death? That this was all Ford?
Well, Arnold made the reveries, right? Or was it Ford?
It's unclear because they made it seem like Arnold made the reveries, but they also made it seem like Ford made them. And I think at the end, Ford's speech about how all this was actually him, all this was actually Ford, but doing it because he realized Arnold was right.
Right, yeah.
So everything we've thought was Arnold was really just Ford. I'm going to have to watch it again to
God.
really figure it out. But I was disappointed we saw Bernard again so soon. It made it kind of cheapened it. It's like, well, if you can just bring everybody back. I know you can bring everybody back, but I wanted them to hold off with Bernard. Like, we saw him, it was a good send-off for him. They also... Okay, what did you feel about the reveal, the big Man in Black reveal that he is William?
I think it was a long time coming. I mean, I think we established that he was William.
Yeah.
Right? I felt bad that he wasn't showing more affection towards Dolores.
Well, he got all sick of her, tired of her.
Yeah, I guess. I just thought, like, once he realized that she knew who he was, like, they'd fall back in love or something.
Yeah, the age difference, though, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, well...
She's also a robot, so I guess it wouldn't matter. But do you think you would have had any idea that Man in Black was William if we weren't doing this show? If we weren't filling our heads with all this internet talk? No, eh?
No.
I
wouldn't have looked that much into it.
Yeah, I think it would have had a bigger impact, and I wonder if other people who are just watching the show, who don't listen to podcasts, who don't go on Reddit and different places to
conspiracy theories,
read all of it, because people are they're just throwing everything out there. Every possible thing that they can think of, they're just throwing it out, not even with any basis, no facts to back it up, and some of it's got to stick. This one, they had a lot to foreshadow it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I was watching it just to enjoy it. I guess I don't really do that with these kinds of shows. I'll always be watching for something. But I'm sure people, like you yourself just said, you might watch it and then only realize in episode 10 that this had been going on. Yeah,
and I'd have to rewatch everything. I still feel like I have to rewatch everything.
Yeah.
Just to make sense of it all.
And I was talking to my aunt over the weekend, Mallory. And
she watches the show?
She does, and she's caught up. She says she's really into it, and I started to just entertain to her some of these other theories, and she had not heard of anything. Like, she was like, well, what are you talking about? And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to ruin it then. I assumed that it was obvious to everyone that there was multiple timelines, that even William was going to be Man in Black, where William was going to end up being somebody. Or Man in Black was going to end up being somebody. But from my conversation with her, it really seemed like she was just taking the show at face value, and I'm curious to see what she thought of this episode.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
Because if it just comes as a surprise to people, it must
I
be
think
such a
it
richer
would shock.
experience.
It would make people so confused, almost. Like, what?
Yeah, I'd like to hear from. It's difficult because no one listening to this show is unaware of these possibilities. But I would like to hear from. Maybe I'll talk to my aunt and see what it seems what the episode felt like to somebody who was not aware of any of these theories going into it.
Yeah.
It seems like a richer experience, maybe. So you were okay with it, though?
Yeah, I mean, about the reveal?
Yeah, the reveal was okay. They felt like they took a long time. They really dragged it out.
Yeah, it was really explanatory again, too. Like,
but they may have had to have it like that if people weren't aware.
That's true.
It
was a little bit chilling the way in the past when we see William as a young man and he puts the black hat on.
Yeah.
It's like he turns stone cold, you know?
Yeah, I wish that was the moment I realized. Mm-hmm. Instead of just waiting for him to do it.
Yeah.
So Will's mole. I know there's been a lot of talk on the internet about how he can't be it, or it's an oversight on the show's part that William, or Jimmy, the actor who plays him, Jimmy Simpson, has a mole, a very pronounced mole on his cheek, and Man in Black does not.
That's true.
So what do you make of this? Do you think
either his wrinkles folded over the mold, the mole? Yeah. Or he's like a billionaire. He might have gotten it removed.
I guess. Doesn't seem like he's done a lot of other...
nips and tucks.
Nips and tucks, yeah, exactly. Just, let's get rid of this mole so no one confuses me with someone with me from the past.
Yeah.
I'm still not on board with the younger Ford being CGI and William being a different actor.
Okay. Well, there's nothing we can do about that now.
No.
What's done is done.
You're not upset about it at all? They showed us this. Essentially, they showed us the same thing. And we're going over this one last time. They showed us the same thing, but they use a different language to tell it to us.
No. Because we barely see Ford when he's younger. It's a 2-second scene. It's like the same scene being repeated over and over again that we see. It's just him walking down the hallway. Then it's his back. And then they're in a closed room.
Yeah, I know.
And that's it.
But it still bothers me that it's a completely different... All right. At that age, that Ford should have been able to go over and find Jimmy Simpson and not a young Ed Harris. But that wouldn't make sense. It's two different kinds of coding that don't compute. Okay. All right, whatever. You're not letting me have this at all. Anyway, I was surprised. I'm surprised in myself, Mallory, that Jimmy Simpson could play any character that didn't end up being a creep, because I thought his character in Westworld was going to be a breakthrough role for him, where he's going to be a good guy. He's going to not be creepy or weird or end up looking like McFoyle from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, or any of his other weird characters. He's got some... What was that episode? People would break into prison or break out of prison. Don't say Prison Break. Do not. He was in an episode that they were prisoners that had to help law enforcement figure out how to catch... I don't know. He was a weird dude in that too, though. Okay. Anyway. Were you at all disappointed in the maze? In what the reveal of the maze ended up being?
So the reveal of the maze is just their quest for consciousness. It's all metaphorical. It's not a physical thing, right?
Yeah, but they were kind of making it seem like it was going to be a physical place and a mental place.
A mental place.
Well, no, but...
Yeah.
But they did say the maze was not meant for us as humans, so it's rightfully disappointing, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of what we always thought the maze was going to be, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I was more disappointed on William's behalf.
Yeah.
Old Will,
yeah, because he's looking for the maze too.
Yeah.
And he thinks it's a physical place.
Yeah, it was so disappointing when he didn't get what he wanted.
And she's like, the maze isn't for you. Pow. Yeah.
All right, well, if you are good for our initial thoughts, do you have any more initial thoughts? What did you think of the episode and as a whole?
It was thrilling. Yeah.
You sound so sarcastic.
No, I'm serious.
Go ahead.
And I find it interesting that, the reveal that Maeve was programmed to escape and programmed to pretend to feel like she was free.